Hello and welcome. Tonight on the show, we are going to be giving one hell of a hoot. We're going to be talking about Hooters medium wing sauce. It comes in a jar. Looks a little suspicious if you ask me. I'm really glad you came around here. So is everyone tonight. We have a little special treat for you. Stay tuned. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. This is the podcast for doctoral residents detailing the combinations of spices, herbs, liquids, oils, and vinegar can do both for physical health and the effects they have on mental health. I'm your co-host Adam. Here with me today is my co-host Eric.
Hey there, Adam. That was quite an appropriate way of putting things. I'm also joined by our co-host, Tori.
Wow, thank you, Eric. Wow, this is starting this one off with a bang. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for the interview. And we have a very special guest with us here this evening, Miss Colleen. Please, say hello.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you all tonight?
That's right. For the first time tonight, our very special 10th episode, we have our first guest. This is something that no one has asked for, but we decided to do anyways.
And I think this might be our first episode on a Friday that we're doing this recording, so cheers to the end of the week. Oh,
we definitely did one on Friday before. As I recalled on the way over here, we ran into a bit of traffic, which I remembered from the last time we came down here on a Friday and we talked about how shitty the traffic was and that we would never do this on a Friday again.
Here we are on a Friday again, though.
It was all parked up, so I'm curious as to what was happening, whether a concert, the Buccos weren't playing this late into October. They suck far too bad for that.
That's a good point.
For sure.
Yeah, kind of hard to say. Since we have a guest here, and I feel like we need a little bit of a way to get them included, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Colleen?
Well, I work in the medical field. I am going into social work. Other than that, I have a wonderful little house. I have a Great Dane and a little squeaky cat. It's basically my life is just work, my house, and my pets. So...
Now, since you guys, we'll take a picture since we don't normally have guests. We'll throw that on our Instagram of Colleen. We'll also post her social security number and other identifying information.
Yeah, blood type, the whole
CVV code.
Right. For those of you, since you haven't seen yet, Colleen's all of maybe 98 pounds. So you can imagine what having a dog that currently weighs 120 pounds looks like. A dog that can put its legs on my shoulders and look me square in the eye and be leaning at a slight angle.
Yeah, and she sleeps in bed with me, so that's just, picture that if you will.
She takes up more than half the bed, I imagine.
Actually, this dog curls up into a little ball at the end of the bed, and it's quite cute. Whenever she spreads out, she takes up more than half the bed.
So, E, why don't you tell us a little bit about how your week's been going?
I've had a pretty good week, actually. Work has been slow recently and has just exploded with a bunch of close, in need deadline jobs that are just, a bunch of rush jobs essentially. And that's caused me a bit of stress in the last end of the week. And I also had my dental appointment, which is a whole nother story, which we might get into later.
Who'd you end up going with for a dentist? I know that was something you were really concerned about.
Dr. Isaac Yankum, DDS.
Oh, boy.
Wow. No, I went to Dr. Sakai, which... Japanese dentist. I honestly wasn't that concerned about where I went for my dentistry. I know everyone was recommending me your guys' doctors, Dr.
Right.
George,
Dr.
I believe.
George.
Oh, is that yours too, Colleen?
Yeah, I love Dr. G.
I'm literally the only man out here on the table.
Yeah, all the cool kids are using him.
Well, I'm definitely not cool enough.
All the cool kids in my dental
You better
club.
get down there before he hangs it up, too.
Yeah.
He's thinking about quitting.
I heard you were
He's
coming.
been doing it for 30-some-odd years.
Oh, God, that's like the first dentist I've ever went to that I liked. Who am
Yeah.
I going to go to now?
Yeah, he's legit.
So I've actually never gone to a dentist that I didn't care for, really. Well, no, I take it back. Well, okay, so it wasn't a dentist, it was an orthodontist. I hated my orthodontist. I didn't really care for the guy because braces suck, which like you said, everyone hates their orthodontist. The retainers sucked. Making the molds, I found it interesting, but I just didn't, I didn't care for the guy, honestly. I mean, it really came down to it. I just did not like the way he treated his patients and myself included. But if I still have the floor, I will say that Dr. Sakai was a good dentist. It's interesting these days. You don't really deal much with the actual dentist. You deal more with the hygienist.
Right. Unless you go to Dr. George, in which case he'll get you straight into him.
That's right.
Yep, love it.
It's a one-man show.
Minimal weight.
That's pretty cool. I have to admit, that'd be neat to have like that level of expertise and that knowledge.
He's the dude.
If I thought he would approve of the podcast, I would like plug him fully, but I don't see it. He's a very, I don't want to say, he's a very professional man, or at least he seems like it. I don't think he would appreciate
Pretty
being
straight-laced fella.
plugged on this platform, yeah. He probably wouldn't know what a podcast was. He's a super nice guy, though.
My hygienist was cool. Her name was Hillary. She's got a dog. She said I have the cleanest teeth that she's almost ever seen, and I hadn't been to a dentist.
I'm a homeless guy.
She can,
Wow.
she can tell that your mouth has never been near anyone else's mouth.
Oh boy.
That may be very true.
Was she single? Did you hit on her? Did you leave her your number?
You knew
Was she
that was
cute?
I've definitely thought about it.
Oh boy.
It's just not right to like, she's technically in a medical field. There's like a morals thing. Like you're not really supposed to like leave your number.
Yeah, like a
or-
HIPAA thing. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's okay if the patient does it. I wouldn't want your doctor to do that, but
Maybe
Well-
you do want the doctor to do that.
maybe.
I want my doctor to do that.
Wow. While we're kind of on that topic, I was going to say, I think it'd be weird to date someone in a profession like that because I feel like they'd be constantly like evaluating you, like diagnosing you. Maybe Colleen, you can speak to this on a little bit of a medical field because I know I have like some really big veins in my left arm, and anytime I ever go to like give blood or
Let me cut you off there. They're probably telling you what good veins you
oh,
have. and how-
absolutely,
yeah.
they fetishize
yeah.
my arm, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit weird. And I had a friend who was it was an EMT, and every time she would see me, she's like, "Oh, can I please practice drawing blood on your arm?" And I'm just like, that shit is so weird.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
weird.
You know, oddly
weird, but
enough,
it's so common. Yeah,
that wouldn't really be practice though when it's that easy. I mean,
you're always practicing though.
Okay.
Everything that you do is always a practice to get better
Yeah.
at it, right?
Call it a medical practice, not a medical science for a reason.
As easy
good
as
point.
it would seem, one time when I was going to give blood, I did have a bit of an incident. This has only happened one time like this. You squeamish listeners, you may want to chill out for a second.
Oh, great.
But I was going to give blood one time. I don't know exactly what had occurred, but she was going to start the blood draw, and I usually do the double red, which is a little bit of a bigger needle for listeners who may be unfamiliar. And she was getting it close to my arm, and they usually don't feel like they need to mark my arm just because of the veins so big and so prominent. She just started to push the needle in, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden she was sprayed with blood straight out of like a movie scene. I had never seen anything like. I actually thought that was fictionalized, like when they cut someone's jugular and the blood just sprays out in spurts. But that was literally what had happened to her. She had nicked my vein, and from the top of her head to about her waist, where she was kind of standing next to me, sprayed with blood. I'll be damned if she didn't power through and managed to get the needle stuck in me while she's being sprayed with my blood. She got it started, and everything went fine.
Happy Halloween.
And really, it didn't really hurt more than anything. The sharp needles. The only problem I had was I was going to work immediately after that. So I showed up to work covered in bloodstains, which was a little awkward, but
as you know, I give blood regularly as well, and I do the double red. I have done the double red as well. Spraying is a common, not common, but it definitely happens.
never
So-
happened to me before.
No, it's never happened to me as well. But
I never
I've talked to them enough times when I've gone to give blood, and they always say that I have good veins, even though nowhere near as bulging as yours was.
Right.
I
I train it.
see that.
I go to the gym and bulge it out in front of a mirror.
The one time that happened to me, though, if we're talking about giving blood stories, I was doing a double red, and they went through my vein and didn't notice it.
God.
So my arm started actually just filling with blood underneath the skin.
Like bulging.
Yeah, that was quite
Like a little
an
blood
experience.
balloon.
And they were like, when they realized it, they were like, "Oh no!" And they like had to like squeeze the blood out, take the needle out. It was a big fiasco. And they're like, "That's gonna bruise." And oh yeah, my whole arm bruised up.
This is exactly why I don't give blood. I can't do it. I don't know what it is about me and needles, even working in, the medical profession and being in an emergency room all the time. I just can't do it. Anytime somebody comes near me with something like that, no, I can't.
I love it. I watch them. I watch them put the needle
I
in.
do too. It actually doesn't bother me. I actually kind of consider it like almost a free checkup because they'll check some of your blood metrics. And I usually feel better after I go for whatever reason. Usually my blood pressure's a little high. I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Go home,
Mine's high,
put
too,
on a
often.
six-pack, get hammered drunk.
It doesn't take a six-pack, as I've discovered before. One time I was over at your house and got very sick because that creeps up on you really quick if you start drinking after you've had a couple pints of blood taken out.
Be a cheap date at the very least. That would be the only real incentive for me to do something like that because I'm in the same boat with you. There's you ain't getting close to me with no needle. I'd make one hell of a heroin addict. No,
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
No.
My one coworker was bragging about how she watched on the cameras as they did eye surgery on her.
goodness.
Oh, no.
Nope,
Now,
was like-
eyes are one thing. I do not fuck with the eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been interested in doing LASIK eye surgery. I would like to
It
have.
scares me too much.
No, I would definitely be for it. I don't know if I'd be able to watch while it happens.
Colleen, do you wear contacts?
I don't. Nope. I
No,
don't wear
you don't need 'em?
contacts. I only
Okay.
have reading glasses.
Oh, that's right.
That's about it. That's all that I
Okay.
need.
The rest of us are all glasses-wearing blokes.
We're nerdy, thick, sauce-eating.
We are
Nerds.
at E's home, also known as the Nerd Palace.
Yeah, the Nerd Palace.
I actually don't even mind that. I think it's a badge of honor.
I think it's fitting.
The dragon posters are in place for tonight's episode.
I think it's important. They're not just posters, bro.
The
They're
dragon
puzzles.
jigsaw.
yeah, they're completed puzzles.
The
I think
1,000-piece
That we
jigsaws.
glued together.
That's a whole nother dimension that I think is worth mentioning.
They're awesome.
That's not glue. He was just very proud of himself after he completed them.
Jesus.
Oh God Almighty! Wow.
Starting with the cuts already. Tori, how was your week? I feel like we usually are into this by this point.
Boy, status quo. Since the last time I checked in with everyone, I got a little kitten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think this is the first time we brought up the little man
Right.
on the podcast. He's a little ray of sunshine. He's
He's a cutie.
his name's Leonard. He's cool as hell. And
Wait, I thought it was Prybar.
Crowbar.
Crowbar. Yeah, Crowbar.
We're not allowed
was,
to call him that.
that was a fantasy. It got shut down. His name would have been Crowbar if I was left in charge. But I'm totally cool with Leonard.
I'm the pry bar.
Crowbar.
No,
Crowbar.
I'm quoting a movie here.
Oh.
Reference for anybody that actually gets it out there.
Also a video game reference, Half-Life series.
Half-Life. Love Half-Life.
Focused
Yeah.
heavily on the crowbar, pry bar.
It's an old enough game even I know what you're talking about.
You're
Yeah.
a game nerd, so
Not that, I mean, it is old, but they have some newer. Well, I guess Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 3.
Dreaming.
Half-Life 3.
You're dreaming,
Yeah.
brother.
Half-Life 2 is, I wanted to say relatively new, but I think that was like PS2 or something. I guess that was pretty old.
Yeah, it's like a decade just
Yeah.
to get back to Half-Life 2, and then what Half-Life 1 was 1999
PC only, of
or
course. Yeah.
yeah, 1999,
Right.
2000. No, it was probably 99 probably.
Well, how was your week, Colleen?
that was pretty boring. I'm working from home currently, mainly due to a job change / pandemic stuff. So it's transitioning from a hospital to home is a little bit odd for me. I'm used to running around, talking to patients, being in the emergency room, handling really everything on a face-to-face basis. So being taken out of that's kind of it's a change. Odd. Other than that, it's been working from home. I get a lot more cleaning done.
Right.
A lot more naps in. That always helps. The dog is absolutely ecstatic that I'm home.
Yep.
She loves it. She's been an angel. Other than that, that's basically it. I was going to go out to the other side of Pennsylvania this weekend with my one girlfriend. Not dating-wise girlfriend as in friend.
One of them.
One of my many
One of my
girlfriends.
harem.
We're going to the White Cliffs of Conway.
Dover.
Not Dover, Conway. I think it's Conway. It's out on the other side of Pennsylvania. It's really pretty. Anybody look it up? You can.
So we've all kind of established this previously in the podcast series, but is there a way that you can kind of elaborate a little bit on your personal relationship with sauces?
Personal relationship with sauces. Kind of. So my grandmother's the one that mainly taught me how to cook when I was growing up. She taught me a couple of different sauces to make, any kind of different things to put on different kinds of meat and everything like that.
And you're a damn good cook.
Thank you. One of my
Aw.
favorite ones is a homemade au jus sauce. It's made by like a reduction of the beef fat for the steak.
I believe it's pronounced ass juice.
No, I believe that it's not pronounced ass juice.
That's how they said it at Arby's when I got it.
Oh my god. But,
Oh, there it was, for sure.
but that's my favorite sauce that she's always made, and I can't quite replicate it as good as she can, because she is 90 years old and she's had her entire life to perfect that one. So hopefully I'll be as good as she is someday.
People of that generation, being that it's your grandma, there's a good chance that the reason that was so good was that she hand raised the beef that the sauce came from.
This woman didn't hand raise anything except for my mother in her entire life, so don't think so.
So speaking of buttery sauces, our sauce for this week, I've been wanting to try this sauce for a long time. I've never purchased it before, which is a little bit foretelling because there's a bit of a learning curve to this sauce, if you want to say it like that.
Wait, exactly how long, or approximately how long have you wanted to buy the sauce?
Well, I've seen it in like store shelves for years now, and I always thought, that sounds interesting.
I know, I've never seen it before.
I've
They
never
sell it
seen
at
this.
Walmart. I think it's pretty mainstream now.
I guess I just don't grocery shop at Walmart enough.
I don't think you grocery
go into
shop,
Walmart.
period.
That's right.
Yeah.
I work with your wife. I know that.
You didn't find a place to steal the sauce from, so you didn't get an opportunity to taste it.
Oh, that'd be me you're referring to, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So this sauce in particular, one of the reasons I wanted to have a guest on for this sauce was that I thought, is there a way that 3 late 20s, early 30s guys can get together and talk about this sauce without it being problematic? And I thought, maybe this would be a good time to introduce a guest to the podcast because, well, Colleen, you're our guest. Do you want to read off the sauce for us this week?
Sure thing. And it's kind of ironic because this sauce is from Hooters and I am very flat-chested. I am a part of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. And here we have a sauce from Hooters, which obviously we all know by now is a very large-chested modeled restaurant. So this is the original Hooters wing sauce and it is medium spice and looks like it serves approximately for 5 pounds of chicken wings.
That's correct. E, do you want to give us a little bit of a description of kind of the sauce container here? It's a little bit unusual for the sauces that we typically do. Probably the first one in this particular styling.
It is. It's actually looks a lot like a small peanut butter jar, but it's out of glass and it has an orange top and the classic Hooters logo. I guess classic.
Can you turn that to me? I want to see that logo for a second.
Yeah, isn't there
So
an
it doesn't-
owl?
Yeah, it doesn't feature the owl.
That's
And
what
I was
just
reading
thought.
up on this earlier because there was an old logo that I'm familiar with. And I guess they've updated the logo since then to more of a cartoony type graphic owl.
The owl was looking through the 2 O's in Hooters, if my memory serves me
Yes,
correctly.
that's how I remember it too.
And if I may interject, I believe the orange lid is the same color as the booty shorts that those fine young women wear at the restaurant.
Very astute.
Yeah.
My
They have
girlfriend.
booty short- Why don't I ever go to this restaurant? I've never been to a Hooters.
That's right up
before.
your alley, E. You'd
Right?
love it.
That is one thing I wanted to kind of talk about on this. I personally have actually never been to a Hooters, and I was curious which of the rest of you may have been to this establishment.
I certainly have not.
I've been.
I guess so. TG is the only one who's been brave enough or adventurous enough, or you went to the one in Station Square when it was there.
When it was there, I went to the one in Station Square, and I've also went to the one in Myrtle Beach.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of those things, if you want to kind of talk about like things that boomers like, I feel like this is a restaurant that used to be kind of scandalous almost, and now with the readily available free internet pornography, I feel like establishments like this have kind of gone down in popularity.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think the food got to be something first and foremost, and that's never been the case.
Right, and
So have you ever been to Tilted Kilt?
that was what I was going to say, because is that a Pittsburgh local institution, or
No.
is that a chain too? Okay,
It's a chain.
I've never seen one outside. I wasn't familiar with that before I moved here.
Never been.
Never been either.
But it's a similar type of establishment, right? They just objectify women, correct?
Absolutely. But their food is better, I think, than Hooters. I don't know. I've never been to Hooters. But their food is good at Tilted Kilt, at least good enough that I went back multiple times. It wasn't just the women.
Oh, it's just for the food.
It's a different
Right.
flavor
Wasn't
of
just for the
objectification.
women.
Well, I think that was always kind of the joke about Hooters was that, I'm just going for the chicken wings. Which, as
Well,
we
if they're
found out
using this
tonight,
sauce.
as we found out tonight, it would be even more skeptical of these claims.
Just to finish off here, it says this is the original Hooters wing sauce. It's got a picture of chicken wings on it, and we are trying the medium variety. It's got a white label with red, I guess orange Hooters writing, and a brown banner that has the wing sauce written in white over it. So it
looks like a peanut butter jar.
From a
It
distance,
does.
it even
it really
looks...
does.
And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but when I left the house, my girlfriend actually said to me, have fun reviewing your peanut butter. She knew what the sauce was, but she was joking, obviously. But from a distance here, particularly, the sauce is orange.
It's not eye-catching.
Right.
It's a very true. Yeah, the sauce itself is extremely pale.
Well, what I was going to say, though, from this distance, it looks brown. And
Yeah.
we have sultry ambiance lighting here tonight.
That's a stretch.
As per the usual.
In the Nerd
As per
Palace?
usual.
In the Nerd Palace?
Well, I mean, I have a real problem with. We've talked about this before, you and I, Tori. I have a really big problem with direct, harsh overhead lighting. I find that it really
hate overhead lighting.
Gives me a migraine.
Yeah, I like a little bit of shadow.
Yes.
And the lamp that you have over there with your CFLs that you've had for 23 years
Only 17.
really lends to the ambiance of the studio. How many ounces is that jar? It's smaller than a standard peanut butter jar, though, right?
Well, it depends on the peanut butter jar. It's actually larger, I'd say, than I think the normal small peanut butter jars are 9 ounces. This is a 12 fluid ounce. And then they have the big peanut butter jars, which
That's
is 30
12
ounces. This is 12 ounces. Yeah.
So that's a pop can size, then, essentially.
Essentially, yes.
It looks bigger than a pop can, though.
But once you
wider,
cracked
maybe.
it open and we started to actually look at the sauce, it is anything but a liquid.
Right, and that's that's kind of we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there. I was kind of hoping maybe Tori, since you're the only one that's actually been to a Hooters before, did you get wings when you were there?
Of course.
Okay.
They're not good.
Okay, I was going to say.
Allow me to answer the question for you.
Because I think that was always a joke for a reason,
yeah.
is that they're not that good.
Yeah. I really... There's a reason why they're not there any longer, at least
right.
I think in the Pittsburgh region.
Right. I think they are starting to die out nationwide.
So is Tilted Kilt, I think, honestly. When your comment about objectifying women in restaurants.
Now, do they have a shtick? Obviously, the Hooters is more focusing on the breasts, whereas I think Tilted Kilt implies maybe more a bit thigh and some booty. Yep. Is that the idea there?
Really, really short skirts.
Okay. Now
kilts.
Now Tori had kind of alluded to the Hooters already kind of has the booty short thing going
definitely.
on.
Yeah.
Would you say it's more or less revealing than that?
I don't know. I didn't go to.
You didn't inspect?
I didn't go to a Hooters to look at these.
But you've seen
shorts.
pictures. Everyone's seen pictures. You probably on a nightly basis have seen pictures.
I have not. No clue. You want to bring it up on the internet? You can do it right now.
Wow.
That's true. We could.
Let's not.
Thanks, Colleen.
Well, that's another thing I was kind of getting at, is that I don't really feel like the clothing that they wear, now that, the modern male has been desensitized to this sort of thing, I don't even feel like their clothing is particularly revealing.
Well, I don't understand what the whole point of it is anyway either. I mean, if you want to see women, why wouldn't you just go to a strip club and see them almost the whole way naked? You know what I mean?
I think this is a place where maybe guys would feel comfortable taking their dad, and maybe they wouldn't feel as comfortable going to a strip joint or something like that.
Now, I'm all progressive and everything, but isn't that kind of gross? Like, you and your dad want to look at women together?
Oh, it's very gross. I don't think this establishment is catering to the more classy individuals to begin with. Let's put it that way.
Fair.
Yeah.
I want to say there's probably a lot of NASCAR watching going on at these
frat boys
types of bars. Frat boys, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you would think, with colleges these days, you would think they've got plenty of other things to. I mean, I go to if you go to a college campus or even go to the casino or something like that, you see more revealing clothing there,
right,
on a Saturday
campus?
night on campus than you do going to a Hooters.
Something leads me to believe that the food was decent at one point in time.
Oh, okay.
That I can't. Maybe I caught it towards the tail end. I don't know, but
now you got.
What else did you try?
Yeah. Did you get anything other than chicken wings?
I mean, this was 100 years ago.
And you never knew you'd have to be speaking about this in depth on recording.
Damn, I didn't have my notebook there.
Right.
Maybe I know I had chicken wings. I know I did. Maybe a steak or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That was a long, long time ago.
Okay.
But I don't remember being overtly impressed. I don't remember any really great value for my buck or anything like that. So to that end, I mean, okay. I mean, I don't want to sound crass or crude here, but okay, some tits.
Right.
Is my stomach full? Yes. Was it?
Right.
Who did you go with? Or was it just you?
His dad.
Perfect.
Oh no! I mean, the first time it was a friend of mine. A bunch of us went down to that Myrtle Beach, the one I was telling you about, and then the other time was a birthday for and they get they get you up on the chair, and the gal with the real bad arthritis, if you know if you know what I mean, would hit you on the rear end with a plate.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I had heard of that tradition before.
Yeah.
From your experience at Tilted Kilt, you said the food there was pretty good, right?
I did like the food. I mean, I like that English style stews and.
Oh, okay. So it's the heartier type of food like that.
Well, it's heartier. I mean, it's supposed to be. I mean, it's kind of like an Irish restaurant. You know?
Okay.
I mean, they have your lamb stew, and you have your Reubens, and you got
Shepherd's pie.
shepherd's pie. Absolutely, yeah. It's
Do they have like a signature ingredient or item there, kind of like they do at Hooters with the wings?
I've only been a couple times, and if they did, I was not aware of it.
Okay, very good.
It sounds like I would like Tilted Kilt more than Hooters. I'm more of a fan of the heartier Irish food, maybe it's because I'm Irish. I don't know, but it sounds more up my alley than.
And you're more of a thigh and butt girl too.
I
is that
am.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, that's fair to assume. Yes.
Very good. And I don't know if you guys are willing to talk about this on the air. How many of you guys have ever been to a strip club?
I have not.
I have not.
Tori?
No.
Not on the air.
No.
I don't want to talk about it.
Not opposed.
I don't think I would enjoy myself.
So getting back to the sauce, as we were discussing, when we first opened it, I was a little perturbed. It was not exactly what I was expecting.
I don't think it was what any of us were expecting.
No.
No.
So it was strange to begin with that it came in this jar, and it did say to shake well on it. And I noticed it didn't really shake around. You know, you expect a liquid to kind of jostle when you shake it, and this didn't do that.
Yeah,
When
you can ketchup. You can shake ketchup.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't shake this.
Even though it's thick.
Yeah.
When I opened it up, it was very much seemingly solid. Now, it does say on the instructions for the bottle, it says to mix it, to cook up some hot wings, and there is also a breading that they sell to go along with that they expect you to use. And you're supposed to kind of use that in conjunction first, but they say to fry these wings up, and
It's
they
like a
recommend,
dry breading mix. I just want to be.
yeah, it's like a deep fry for the wings.
Yeah, there's a
you know?
description right on the side there.
They suggest that you cook up 5 pounds of wings and then pour this, when the wings are hot, pour this sauce, if you will, over the wings and kind of stir it around. And then they suggest that you save the remaining dressing sauce for dipping afterwards. But it wasn't immediately apparent how you would pour the sauce, because it was almost peanut butter-like in consistency when I opened the jar.
or like peanut, or like what's that fluffy stuff that.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I then proceeded to get a knife out of the drawer and start digging into it, and it was very light and airy feeling, almost a whipped texture. And I actually showed it around to the rest of you because I thought you guys had to feel this. Was very strange.
Like cake icing.
Almost lighter than that.
It was
though,
lighter.
even.
It was lighter.
It was
Yeah.
almost
Very-
like marshmallow fluff.
Like marshmallow fluff, but not sticky.
Right.
That like weight essentially. And it was very unusual.
I, for one, find it humorous that you fell victim to your own devices by way of trying a sauce directly as they serve it on the shelf.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Because
you just played yourself.
Yeah, we do normally, as we've said before in the podcast, we do normally try to serve sauces at whatever their seemingly intended use is. I wasn't about to fry up a whole batch of wings for this, so we just had it on chicken nuggets.
Why the hell not?
And I mistakenly assumed
Should have fried up some wings.
that would have been fine. As we discovered, this is not a sauce in the traditional aspect, as it is something that is an ingredient to be used with freshly prepared hot wings. Upon further investigation, can you hand me that bottle?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my first thought was, I need to see what the ingredients are in this, and no one was able to guess. I was very disturbed because we had tried it already at this point.
Yeah, I think we came kind of close.
Yeah, we
well, I
came
know.
very close.
I think we definitely did try it first. And then I started looking at the ingredients to see what it was. Maybe we didn't. I might have that.
no, you told us what the ingredients were, and then we tried it. And it kinda ruined
Number
it.
Yeah.
one ingredient in this quote unquote sauce, and there were some initial guesses. What were the initial guesses? With soybean oil or something?
Canola oil,
Canola oil,
Then it was-
soybean oil.
peanut,
I imagine
peanut
the
oil.
worst thing, the hydrogenated.
Yeah,
Well,
crap that you don't want to eat.
on
Yeah,
most of
maybe
our
soy.
sauces, I think they have like a soy oil of some sort, and it's usually one of the higher ingredients. On
Yeah.
this one, number one ingredient, margarine.
Speaks volumes.
I think it's that whipped margarine.
Exactly. It
Yep.
is definitely kind of a whipped thing, but one of our favorite segments on the podcast is when we read every ingredient in painstaking detail.
You get ready, Colleen?
Oh, go for it.
This is exciting stuff.
But I did just want to kind of breeze through this really quick because they do state, number one, as we had stated, margarine, which they say the constituent parts of that are soybean oil, palm oil, water, butter, salt, sweet cream, buttermilk solids, mono and diglycerides emulsifier. And when we get past the margarine, they get into what you would expect, the artificial butter flavor, the beta carotene,
That's that.
Oh,
that's
it's healthy
that
then.
orange. That orange
Orange
tint.
coloring.
Some actual butter, some hot sauce, the cayenne pepper mash, water, distilled vinegar, water, and there's really not a whole lot else to it. This is primarily a colored, lightly flavored margarine, which is not what I had expected.
100%.
Yeah.
100% expected?
Correct.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Which leads us into kind of some of our tasting notes, if you would. Not a lot of a smell off this I got. Did any of you guys detect much of a smell from it?
Not really, no.
It was subtle. It was there.
The smell that I did get, the nose knows, my man over here.
Right. Why don't you kind of lead us off a little bit there, E, into some of your initial tasting experiences with this sauce, quote unquote, tonight?
Well, it was interesting you said that there was like sweet cream and butter.
I think
butter.
sweet cream butter was what.
Sweet cream butter. Was there also like a butter flavoring additive or something?
Yeah, there was all kinds of butter stuff. There's butter in the margarine. There's butter on its own. There's butter flavoring. I mean, they are just loading this with butter.
And that's definitely the flavor that came through the most for me was butter and slightly sweet. And then I tasted a tiny bit of pepper, spices. And then on the back end, you could kind of it lingers in the back of your throat a little bit of there's some very minor heat. I mean, this wouldn't even register as a hot sauce for me. No way. But ultimately, with all that just margarine and oil, I felt like it just really kind of lacked in flavor.
Right.
What did you think, TG?
Well, smells is an awful large part in the tasting process. So I thought it smelled, what little smell I got from it, I thought it smelled really good. And I thought it smelled like a sleazy wing place.
Ah.
And now I challenge you, Jens, to get your nose in there and really give it a good one. I mean, and tell me that I'm wrong, because I really, really thought that it had a nice...
You
did confirm you're the only person here to go to sleazy wing joints.
Oh, no, wait, no, that's not what I said.
Oh, I've been to several sleazy wing joints. I mean, Hooters has probably been the cleanest of the sleaziest wing joints.
Wow.
You can kind of smell that dirt lingering in the corners of the floor in the sauce.
Yeah, it's like a place where
how do they do that?
Smoking at the bar for 30 plus years.
Well, I think part of that is when you're frying wings all day, that smell kind of permeates into the walls.
No
almost.
question about it. Sure. Yeah, so I was really impressed with the smell, and I thought it left a great deal to be desired. Of course, as we're going to get into here very, very shortly, I'm sure.
I do have a comparison that may hurt. May hurt your feelings.
I'll hurt you then, E.
I have had the honor of having wings with you from Frank's.
I see where you're going.
And
with this.
they are extremely saturated in a buttery wing sauce.
Very light.
Very light and spicy. Well, it builds. It does build.
No, light as in consistency. It's not a thicker sauce.
Oh no, yeah. It's
which
liquid.
Ties into...
It's exactly how we actually heated up a little bit of this sauce, but it reminds me of Frank's wings.
No, go ahead. Why don't you kind of touch on that? And whose idea was that? Was it yours, Colleen?
Oh, that was mine. Yeah, I wanted to see what it was like in its liquid form, because if you're going to put it on wings that just came out of the oven, it's going to be a little bit runnier than the peanut butter consistency that we have going on here.
So what did we, you stuck that in the microwave there, Eric?
I did. I put on low power, 50% power for 45 seconds.
Well, first, I think you missed a step there first. First, you had to plug your microwave in, correct?
Of course. God. Yeah. I had to turn on my mic. I had to plug my microwave in, make sure it was all set, ready to go.
To keep away from the vampiric draw.
It's a real thing, people.
The hundreds of dollars.
$3. It's about $3 a year.
The lifetime of the house.
Anyways, I scooped out some of this whipped fluff and with a spoon, I managed to shake it into a bowl. It's weird consistency.
I don't know how you would pour this onto a batch of wings. You would have to scoop it out with
a spatula.
You need a spatula.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
that brings up a funny story.
You heat it up. Well, go ahead. Why don't you share it with us?
One of my best friends in college is living in Arizona. I went out to go visit him, and he had to work. The first day I got there, he still had to work. So he's like, "Hey, just stay at my place, play on the PS4, and watch movies, whatnot, cook." I was like, "Yeah, I like to cook. He likes to cook. No problem." So I'm there texting him at work. I'm like, "Hey, where's this? Where's that?" In his kitchen, figuring out where things are so I can whip up some food. I text him, "Hey, where's your spatula? What drawer?" He proceeds to direct me to a flipper. a plastic flipper.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm really looking for like, your rubber spatula.
Like a silicone type.
Silicone or
deal.
rubber spatula. He said he didn't have one. I proceeded to spend the rest of my time at his house while he was at work, degrading and giving him shit about not having a rubber spatula. It's like one of the most basic kitchen tools.
That's true, but I feel like as a younger man, that's probably one of the last implements you're going to buy. And I've always called those flippers, as you calling them, I've always called those spatulas.
And so did he, apparently. So after my visit with him, he made sure to let me know that he went out and bought a rubber spatula. And he said he was very amazed at how well it got containers, got the container clean and whatnot as you're scooping
That's a
something out.
multi-use.
But if you're
it is.
not really, I see it as more of like a baking implement almost. Like if you're not baking a lot of things with batter, you're probably not really needing to use that.
I suppose. I do like to bake, so.
I know you like to also scrape out bottles of sauce that you find in the trash with that.
Every last
pays
drop.
for itself.
It does.
But anyway, so you heated the sauce up, and what were the results? I believe you were alerted immediately to a crackling and sparking sound in the microwave. Is that correct?
Yes, even at 50% power for 45 seconds. Too much, people. Maybe like a 30% power or a shorter amount of time. Anyways, there's spitting, splattering everywhere.
Eric, what kind of magic microwave do you have that you can turn it on 30%, 50%, whatever percent power?
It's a pretty common thing. Most
it?
microwaves
It is,
have a power
yeah.
setting.
He
mine
just
doesn't
pops
do
in and
that.
out resistors in the cord. He's got this vampiric draw going out, so
Yeah,
When he
mine
leaves
does
it
not do
unplugged,
that.
it's on its own fuse box.
his microwave charges up in the meantime.
I rarely cook anything at full power. There's really... It's
Oh, I
100...
just slam it in there. Go for it. 100% all the way, dude.
You're the first person I've ever heard who actually used the power setting on a microwave.
Maybe mine does have it then. I just don't pay attention
I think
to
they
it.
all do.
I would
Yeah.
bet it would.
Just that
I would
normal
bet it would.
people would microwave something for less time and then stop it,
Yeah.
stir it, and then start it back up again rather than microwaving it on a lower power.
That's all really all defrost is.
Right.
Yeah,
Defrost
exactly.
is the same thing, low power.
And I think it's also, with the defrost, it's also intermittent. It injects a little bit of a pause, and then it lets it kind of thaw, and then heats, and then thaw.
Well, I need to go home and inspect my microwave.
It's worthwhile.
In any case, what came out was a orange-tinted liquid. Like
we struggle with this every week. Viscous?
a very...
Not viscous.
Hell.
It's very thin in any
Very
case.
thin.
Watery.
I think more viscous. Anyways.
Take a
it's-
hard stance on it. We have a history of taking hard stances.
Taking a hard stance, it's more viscous. That's probably wrong. Anyways, it has...
Either way, you're right.
right. It had a layer of like white. What was that? What, like a white kind of like bubbly froth,
Like a
a foam. Yeah,
Almost
on
like-
top of it.
Almost like butter melting in the microwave, right?
Right.
Exactly like butter melting in the microwave.
Good point.
And the spice level. Well, I mean, it didn't smell anymore. I don't think. Did you guys
Non-existent.
think? No.
It did make a pretty big difference, and I think that once we started trying that in that form, it became immediately evident that there was a big difference between tasting it at room temperature, like we normally do with sauces, and at its fully heated temperature.
Absolutely, it should have been fully heated, and also I think our chicken nuggets would have done much better had we soaked them
Right.
in this sauce. I mean, just even dipping them in the liquid form just didn't get enough flavor really injected into our chicken nuggets to give it.
I will take partial fault
Good.
for this because we do normally. I make a big stance every time about how we try to taste sauces at the temperature that they specify.
I'm loving this. I
Taste
think
that.
that's worth the state for the record. I'm
Yep.
just eating this.
Nope, you're absolutely correct. I failed us on this one because I thought that trying it on a hot chicken nugget would not be any different than trying it on a hot wing, and as it turns out, there is a world of difference.
So yeah, the directions right off the bottle say that to take the then deep fried 350 degrees in pure veggie oil and thoroughly cooked.
It says
Place-
veggie oil.
Does.
It says
VE
veggie oil.
VEGGIE, veggie
Wow.
oil. And place the cooked wings into a lidded container, add the sauce at room temperature, which you, as we had decided,
Right.
we would need to use a spatula to actually get out of it.
That's why I thought it would be okay.
And then shake well, like put the lid on the container and shake well.
Right.
So they want you to really let that hot, oily chicken
Soak in.
soak and bounce around in there and really heat up the
And then
sauce.
it said funnel the
Drain
remainder into your
excess.
gizzard, right? Directly into the IV bag.
Let the liver do the work. That'll grind
That's
it
right.
all up like a bird.
So for the listeners, I don't know if we fully stated this, but the effect of having this sauce at room temperature on a chicken nugget is essentially probably not even a half step really away from literally dipping them into country crock, I would say, or some other similar margin.
The whipped version of
yeah,
country
the whipped
crock.
version.
Yeah, it would be, I think the best analogy, at least I can come up with, the whipped butter, however, it was left out for a couple of hours. So it's very, very soft.
Yes.
Most whipped butters I've gotten are that soft, or just about.
Straight out of the fridge?
Yeah, they're pretty soft. I don't know. I feel like
You are the expert on things that are soft, as we previously stated.
Oh boy.
Wow. That's fucked up.
Does anybody else feel a little bit sick after eating as much of the not heated up version of that as we did, or is it just me? I kind of feel like I was eating spoonfuls of literal butter. Like my stomach's a little bit.
I'm drinking heavily to try and compensate.
Yes,
Yeah.
after we found out how much different it was and that tasted it after being heated up, it did make me immediately nauseous to realize that we had essentially been slathering margarine on these nuggets.
And quite a bit of it too, just to try to get some flavor out of
Well,
it.
that was the other thing
Yeah.
too that we were kind of alluding to this whole time, is that there really was almost no flavor in this sauce. It was slightly more, I thought, slightly more flavor once we'd melted it down, and most of it would kind of drip off there. You were kind of left with a little bit more of that cayenne, but truly, for I believe what is a medium sauce, there's almost no bite to this. There was maybe a ghost of garlic past and a fleeting glimpse of some cayenne.
Yeah,
That was
very-
my tasting notes.
Yeah, very disappointing.
I mean, on a heat level, if we're talking about spice, it would have to come in like a 0. It literally hadn't. It didn't even register. It really didn't.
Once again, E, you've
I'm
jumped the gun
jumping
on
the
the
gun.
ratings, and for that you will be penalized.
Oh.
We saved that section of the podcast for the very
No,
end.
We were talking about the ratings of the sauce.
And now
When it
you will
comes
not be
the
allowed to
heat,
talk for the rest of the podcast.
If I can interject here, I think
Please.
it's interesting about comments recently made about just I don't know, it left a really bad mouthfeel with me. It sort of felt as if it was coating my tongue.
It did.
Yeah,
It's all the fucking margarine.
that
Yeah.
film.
It's not, I didn't think it was particularly pleasant. I wanted to see the jar, not that I care about this really at any other point in my life ever, but they say this entire jar is for 5 pounds worth of chicken wings.
Correct.
5 pounds, so be it. But in 2 tablespoons, there's 120 calories. So you're
Ooh,
dumping this
wow.
entire jar, which is,
Wow.
I think, maybe a little bit more than 2
Get the
tablespoons.
calculators out.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, how many
maybe.
servings does it say there are in there?
128 grams. Well, they ain't gonna tell you. Oh, there's about 12.
Okay, so 12 servings.
servings.
You said, 190 calories?
Yeah, that's at 14,000.
Okay, so there's 2,280 calories in that jar alone.
Ew. Oh wow.
And we ate half of it.
We did not eat
wow.
it.
No wonder I feel sick.
Yeah, on
There's half
20
of it in
nuggets.
these cups. Yeah, yeah. I really wasn't impressed at all. I mean, I think to your point, it wasn't. It was way too mild.
Exactly.
Way too mild. I was uncomfortable with the idea of really eating it at all.
Right.
And to be clear for our listeners, this is not the mild. This is the medium, which
Medium.
usually is one step up from that.
Right.
And it barely registers even as mild.
Yeah, to me, this is like literal 5-year-old level of spice, and maybe I think any 5-year-old could tolerate this.
No question.
That's kind of what I was getting at earlier, Tori. I had a bit of a thought on this, and I was kind of curious. That's why I was asking about your previous wing experience there, because being that this is a sauce made with margarine, I know a lot of wing sauces, typically what they'll do is they'll take something akin to like a Frank's Red Hot, they'll thin it out with some butter, they might throw some garlic in there, and that's usually most restaurants' typical go-to wing sauce, which has a lot more flavor than this.
Would you say it's pretty much what Frank's maybe is equivalent to?
In terms of
No.
what?
Frank's chicken wings. Their
No,
sauce.
I think Frank's does have a wing sauce, but I think Frank's straight up is primarily like a cayenne and vinegar type of sauce.
Or you think there's vinegar in that?
That
I guess
sounds
that
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that sounds really good.
But what I'm getting at there is that I think that, and we touched on this a little bit outside the podcast, I think possibly in restaurant, the sauce is made with butter, and I think it's in a more of a liquid form. It's probably heated and put onto these wings. I think that probably the reason they went with a margarine for this is so they could store it shelf stable at just room temperature. And I think that's probably part of what's detracting from its taste qualities, I guess.
You know what I kind of want to do? I kind of just want to throw the whole jar into a bowl. Add some vinegar, add some more garlic, maybe some Frank's Red Hot sauce.
Make your own sauce out of it. Use it as a base.
Essentially.
Yeah, like use it as a base.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't even think it's even a good base. But if I had to fix it, like if that's what I had on hand, I would just probably end up making my own, you know?
So back to what Pontoni was saying, though. I mean, isn't this like essentially like misinformation? I mean,
Right.
if someone goes to Hooters having wings with real butter and cayenne pepper, and then they buy this
Right.
expecting to have
They're
that
gonna be let
same,
down.
they're going to absolutely be let down.
I think so too. And we've talked about this previously with some other sauces. I believe on the maybe the wild style we were talking about this.
The garlic sauce.
Yeah, because I think you had made the point at that time, E, that we were talking about. Oh, yeah, because I think we were talking about using it as like a wing sauce. But you were saying in that episode, you were making some comments about how you'd want to add some more garlic and some more Parmesan, maybe some butter, etc. And I think kind of like what Colleen was getting at, though, at that point, are you not just building a different sauce?
Not just
And
making your own thing, yeah.
the thing about this sauce, it wouldn't even work well as a thickening agent because once you heat it up, it gets very thin.
Right.
So truly, what benefit would this sauce add?
Yeah, on that wild style, I think I also mentioned about all the lemon juice in there and,
Right.
and vinegar to try and make it more shelf stable.
Exactly. Right.
And it just killed the other flavors and just it came out very flat. You know, there's certain things that manufacturers are trying to do to make their stuff shelf stable and sellable, and it ruins the flavor
Right.
ultimately.
The mystery of the wild style. It shall remain a mystery. Who the
You know,
hell
it was
knows?
funny. I was shopping.
Who cares?
I was shopping at Shop and Save,
Right.
and I saw their whole line of sauces.
The wild style.
The wild style.
Okay, so there are more. I hadn't verified that yet.
Yeah, I saw all like 6 flavors, and I just thought, wow.
Did you keep walking?
Oh, absolutely. They
Oh,
didn't-
thank
yeah.
goodness.
Okay, so for somebody that's a little bit less familiar, what is the wild style?
Well, you got to tune into the podcast. I believe that's
Yeah.
episode 6.
You could be right. Yeah, you haven't been treated to all the.
No, I've not had privy to this information yet.
It was one of our lower rated sauces, I believe. We didn't care for
Wildly.
it. Yeah, to summarize it, we wild stylely didn't care for it. So this is the point of the show where we usually get around to doing some of the ratings. In this particular episode, usually what we do for hot sauces, we do kind of like a rating in terms of how we like it, and we also do a rating on the heat level. For this is a little bit tricky since we kind of tried this sauce two ways. I would say you can kind of choose for yourself if you want to evaluate it based on a cold sauce that was served improperly by your incompetent host, or if you would like to evaluate it based on its heated form, which is, still not proper because we didn't serve it on wings, but at least closer to its intended form. You want to lead us off there, E?
Sure, I know I had jumped the gun earlier about the whole heat level, so I'll just repeat it now. When it comes to the heat on this Hooters wing sauce, supposedly medium level, I would have to give it a 0. Literally 0. It literally does not even register for me.
You're really going 0. Now, to me, I'm thinking
0.
0 is like the same as mayonnaise or straight up margarine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
saying
entitled.
you're
no,
saying
you're,
I have to say a 1, which
Well,
I mean I'm fine. I will
don't have to
say
say
a 1.
nothing.
If you're literally saying that the heat level on mayonnaise, which has no
Did we-
spice at all,
Well, let me take that back. Did we establish for our last hot sauce? Did we establish? I think maybe Tabasco is a 5, or am I just making that? Or Frank's is a 5. I think we had established Frank's Red Hot as a 5. Or
I
am
don't
making
particularly
that up?
remember that. But I mean, if we're
talking about
calling that a
Chipotle
5,
sauces.
then I'll call this a .001. I mean, it just doesn't register.
Rounds to 0. Okay.
It rounds to 0.
All
for me.
right.
I like that answer.
I like it too. Good job.
Now, as far as the flavor goes,
As far as the flavor goes, it's pretty sad as well. Unfortunately, this sauce just doesn't register in the flavor even a factor. I mean, it's just margarine with a hint of spice, and it's pathetic. I literally, I mean, this might be my lowest rated sauce. I think I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it like I'll give it a 2 just because there's a hint of flavor.
Okay.
They're trying something. I mean, I get it that like butter is a flavor.
This isn't really
Margarine
butter, though.
isn't right. Margarine
Right.
isn't butter. I mean, I know my ratings have always been higher than your guys. I do believe 2 is probably the lowest rating I've ever given.
okay.
Yeah, you cut everybody a
sauce.
break.
I do.
It's almost disgusting.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Out of 10, a
Golden
2.
Hardy.
It's
Okay.
pretty bad.
Okay. Tori, you want to kind of enlighten us with some of your thoughts?
Sure. Yeah. I thought this entire program was an exercise in missing the mark.
Wow, I'm getting blasted.
I mean, and this isn't directed solely at you. No,
That's okay,
I don't
blasted
want you
me.
to think. Well, I certainly will.
You
Yeah,
blasted.
your turn is
I
coming.
don't want you to think you're
I've been
getting out
taking notes
unscathed. That's
for,
right.
for quite a long
Okay.
time.
I am the OCD one that's usually the stickler for things being done
Right.
in
Well,
a
of course.
particular way.
Hey, and me, I may be a little bit more loosey goosey.
I broke my own rules.
At least that's how I've been described in the past. But at any rate, I don't know. I think with this jar sauce, I think we are listening to the swan song of a franchise that once was in Hooters. I think, obviously, restaurants are down like crazy. There's some crazy virus that's scaring everybody away. As you mentioned, there may or may not be women on the internet you can dial up for free, or if you want to pay a subscription service, I suppose that's available too. You should plug your thing while we're talking about
My
that.
thing?
He has an OnlyFans. We've
Yeah, right.
discussed
By
that
the way,
before,
yeah,
right?
that's in the joke book, but yeah. So Hooters.
Still
I
don't
mean,
even
it is what it
understand this
is.
whole OnlyFans thing.
Can you explain the diaper fetish thing, E?
Yes, E. Please elaborate on that for everybody out there.
Did you say typer fetish?
Diaper
Yeah,
fetish.
diaper.
The
yeah.
baby
Jesus.
fetish.
Yeah, typer, the stenographer.
It's-
But at any rate, I
I
feel
think
like-
Tom Hanks is the typer fetish guy.
You're more interested in Tom Spanks, if you would.
Wow.
Can't do it.
Anyways,
And anyway, allow me to continue my tirade, please. So, I think that's what we're seeing and hearing here. I think this is Hooters' last ditch effort trying to make a quick buck off a name that has been established for however many years. I'm guessing maybe 35, 40 years.
Mind you, 75% of this table has never even heard of or seen this sauce before.
I mean, I've been to Hooters, and
I've heard of it.
yeah, there's hype around Hooters wings. I didn't think it was a proprietary.
I'm not saying
thing.
we haven't heard of Hooters. I'm saying we never heard of buying Hooters wing sauce in a jar at the
Yeah.
grocery store.
No.
That'd be solely on AP.
It's in Walmart. This is what I would call very mainstream at this point.
Absolutely, there's no question about it.
Grocery shops.
I don't grocery shop at Walmart. Let me do
People
that.
who it is the closest grocery store that has everything on their way home.
Yeah, I mean, so continuing with my thread of just an entire exercise of missing the mark, Hooters, I think that's what we're listening to here. I'm gonna give you a good ribbon here about having to have the sauce at room temperature. I think that was a miss. I think we should have known that when we opened up the jar because it was obviously creamy, right? The first thought that came to my mind, and I circled it because I thought you'd at least get a kick out of it, is I should spread this on toasted chicken loaf.
Toasted
I mean,
chicken loaf.
Yeah,
That's-
if you can imagine in your brain,
I've never heard of a chicken loaf before.
I just made it up. I mean,
okay.
yeah,
I'm
mean,
imagining like a
yeah.
like a cured bologna made of chicken.
maybe. I
Would
mean,
it be pink in your fantasy land? Would this be a pink substance or a white substance?
I mean, and now I opened the jar, and this is very peanut buttery jar. And
Right.
what was the question again? I'm sorry.
If your chicken loaf, I'm playing into your universe here.
In my mind's eye,
where there's chicken loaf, is it white or is it pink?
it'd be white.
You do love your rare meats.
So it'd be a cooked. It'd be like a
You gotta
cooked,
draw the line
it'd be
somewhere.
like a cooked chicken, not a cured
I just
chicken.
want
Yeah.
to paint a picture to everybody that I am imagining that pink slime video from McDonald's
But it'd be
and
toasted.
Tori. Yeah, you putting that,
That
on
was
a
what I
nice
was
hot
picturing.
griddle.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, and you're just spreading this peanut butter looking
Like jelly,
Hooters
like
sauce
peanut butter and jelly.
all over the pink slime.
But
from
again,
McDonald's.
this is a cut that's like a good half-inch thick. Throw down on the griddle for about 5 seconds on each side, just the way TG likes his steak.
Wait, what
just
are you talking about steak now?
no.
You're
This is still
medium rare
this is
chicken.
still
the pink
My
slime.
real famous
chicken.
medium rare chicken tenders.
Oh, jeez. There's the next subject of your nightmares, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
right.
No, but I mean, honest to goodness. Okay, so I won't fault you entirely and 100% for serving this to us. I mean, I know you have a thing for serving it, in the raw, I suppose, or lack of a better term. So I guess I'll cut you a break there. So, but even heated, and that was a fabulous idea, by the way.
Thank
Throw
you.
it in the microwave,
Yeah.
heat it up somehow.
I'm glad we did that because at least we saw a semblance of what it should have been like.
Oh, right.
If it wasn't for my bumbling idiocy.
And it certainly looked like a promising wing sauce too. I think that
Right.
froth that you mentioned, that minor bubbling,
Yes.
I think that is indicative
Yes.
of a really good hot wing sauce.
Right.
And it smelled good as hell to me, at least. I mean, it smelled again like that
I think
old dusty cigarette smoke jukebox
Yes.
wing place, and I really liked it, but I was incredibly let down.
What kind of a wing place did you call that before? Sleazy one.
Sleazy. Yeah, that's in my notes. That's right. Sleazy. That particular adjective. I mean,
Right.
I think that paints a good picture.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so
I
all
guess
those
this is
things
my
combined.
future restaurateur goals. Sleazy E has to have his own wing sauce. His own wing place.
Yeah, I don't trust that at all.
I
No,
think at least-
nobody would trust that. It's going to be like
You'd be eating month-old food.
That's right.
Serving month-old food.
I did want to touch on that because as I was re-listening to some of the old episodes, I've noticed, E, that you, almost every episode, you regale us with, if you were cooking, what you would use that sauce as an ingredient for. What would you... you always have some alternative thing. I know one episode you were trying to make
The fusion.
Asian fusion with some goddamn barbecue sauce. Or what the fuck would you use this concoction for, please? Are you going to be melting it down and scrambling eggs in it or something?
Oh God.
No, this really. I honestly don't cook a lot with butter or margarine because of different dietary.
Because you'd be shitting your brains
Yes,
out.
exactly right. It would not agree well with me. It's funny today. Actually, just came back from lunch, and my coworker asked me, "Oh, where'd you go? Did you go home?" I said, "Yeah, I went home. I had some cabbage soup that had been in my fridge for the last 2 weeks and really needed eaten up." And she was like,
Some liquid farts. What we call it.
"She was like, no way would I eat vegetable soup that had been sitting in the fridge for 2 weeks." I said, "It's fine. It's vegetables."
It's barely aged enough for E.
That's right. It wasn't vinegary. It wasn't bubbling on its own. It was totally fine.
It wasn't fermented into kimchi
God.
yet.
That's right.
Oh, E.
God.
Now that we have that mental image in our head, Tori, did you give it a formal rating yet for the heat or the flavor?
Oh, very well. I certainly will then. The heat, yeah, no. I'm with E on this one. It's registering at a 0.
And you're not a heat. You're not a fan of heat in general, right?
I'm not I think it's very clear. I'm going to set the record straight. I'm not a fan of heat for the sake of heat.
Okay.
I like heat in terms of a flavor. I like heat in terms of an enhancement.
Right.
I'm not going to eat something that's going to make me sweat just so I can tell people that I eat something that makes me sweat.
You're not doing any of those challenges.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm here to impress nobody, even to that end.
So even on a flavor level.
Yeah, it sucked. Miserable. Hated it.
Do you want to assign a number value to any of those thoughts?
Goose egg, dude.
Goose eggs for
Yeah.
both. Wow.
Well,
For the
a
taste?
goose egg certainly for
For the heat. Okay.
for the heat. Yeah, for the taste. Allow me to zoom out for
Okay.
a moment, if I will. So I'm not only going to make a comment and a subsequent rating. I'm going to give the whole experience a 0. From the second you opened that jar.
Yep.
I think I was pretty clear on where I was going to be.
Right.
And if I was in your shoes and I opened this for the first time, I would absolutely, totally feel compelled. My man, you got to look at this. Yeah, I don't fault you at all. There's something
Right.
weird going on, and I think
Right.
it's almost incumbent upon you to show us what's happening. This is what you signed on for, my man. This is what you get paid for, right, Colleen?
Right. Oh wow.
The check's in the mail, by the way.
It's really disappointing because initially I thought we'd be fighting over who could take this home. And at this
It's
point,
going to get thrown out the window on the way home.
At this point, I'm debating if I would be able to still return this to Walmart.
Fill it up with orange Kool-Aid.
Yeah, wow.
I believe the price for this sauce was, I want to say it was in the $5 range. That's an estimate.
Ooh,
I
that's
can't
expensive
remember.
sauce too.
Yeah.
One of the more expensive sauces we've had on.
Yeah, I
here.
want to say $4 or $5 range. I don't remember specifically, but I didn't look it up. But
Save your money, just buy butter.
well, yeah,
and some spices, and
Some
it would be
spice,
cheaper,
yeah.
and you could literally cater the spice level to your own taste.
now I actually like margarine on like a roll or something. I mean, I prefer butter, but I like margarine on a roll or something like that. I was actually wondering if this would be better just served on a piece of bread almost, but
No, I'll pass.
I'll pass on that too.
Yeah.
So, Colleen, we'll come around to you doing ratings here. And in case you didn't kind of pick this up for our listeners, we'll clarify a little bit. Normally for heat, I believe we've only done really one hot episode before with some chipotle sauces that Tori hated.
Still do, by the
man of
way.
no
Yeah.
taste.
If you need an update.
But typically, I think what we've said in the past is that we assign, for a heat rating, we say like regular, original Frank's Red Hot is kind of like our basis for a 5.
That's fair.
And it goes up to there. For general taste, thoughts, how much you like the sauce, we go with like a Heinz ketchup at like a 5. That's kind of like our just standard. If it's
Generic.
lower than that, probably it's kind of bad. And if it's better than that, hey, it's something you'd maybe choose as an alternative to something that you've been using ketchup on before. So with that in mind, would you go ahead and I guess we've done the heat ratings, but first so far. So you want to give us kind of your heat rating on this?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking off of Tori here. This was absolutely for heat rating. Yeah, we're at a zilch, 0, goose egg, nothing, nada. It was terrible. And I'm like with Tori. I'm not big on spice or heat or anything unless it has to do with flavor. But this just had nothing. I mean, it had a quick puff, and that was it. And it was just like, that's it.
Right.
And I'm a very, if you're gonna do it type person. This was not doing it at all for anything.
Wow. It was zeros.
Could I question you
Yeah.
on my eggplant curry?
Your egg. Okay,
How
so
spicy was that?
So Eric had made me eggplant curry at one point, and that was pretty spicy. And I enjoyed it though, Eric. It was very good. It was very flavorful, and I put up with the heat through most of the dish just because it was so flavorful.
And even into the next day, she put up with the heat.
I
I think he's looking for a number though too. What would you?
was curious. I was curious what
so
number.
for the
would you
eggplant
give it?
curry, I would give that about a 7
Okay.
on the
Okay.
heat scale. For me personally, I think that's all subjective
Sure.
and relative to the
Oh.
individual person.
It absolutely.
What do
is.
you think, E? What, in your mind?
Did you crank it up?
A little more than I intended. I think.
Oh, okay.
It came out slightly hotter than I think than Frank's, so I'd probably put it around a 6 or.
Okay.
It
So
was
yeah, that's pretty
fair.
close.
Yeah,
it was
that's fair.
probably up there. I mean, it was tasty though. It was good.
Oh, it was
was
good.
really good.
That's why I continued to eat it because it was
Wow.
so good.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah.
So moving on there, what are your kind of thoughts as far as how much you liked it overall in general flavor?
Back to if you're gonna do it. This was a 0 for flavor. Nothing.
Wow.
They tanked
Oof.
on
This
this.
is going to be our worst one yet by a
Tanked.
mile.
There was
Oh,
no
wow.
flavor for me. I mean, coming from the background that I do, most of my sauces that Grandma taught me about, they are all butter based.
Right.
She is fully butter and lard, caked into everything
Yep.
that woman makes. And this was just a letdown. It was just fake butter made to taste kind of like real butter. And it was just bad.
If I may remind you of a point you made about the particular level.
Yeah, it says medium on the jar. And I was
Right.
expecting, a bit of a kick, me to go, ooh, yeah. No, nothing, 0.
All right. Well,
Bad.
I guess I'll kind of close this out here. To be honest with you, I feel like I have a habit of being a little bit of a contrarian sometimes from you guys, and I think I'm going to kind of continue that trend this time. Some things about the sauce, I do really like the color, both in its form in the jar, as well as its form when it came hot out of the microwave. Like Tori had said, I believe that's like a clarified butter on top, and those
Yeah.
are like some milk solids you're seeing.
Yeah.
On top. On the appearance, I liked the appearance. I thought it matched the classic wing appearance.
You like the appearance of it coming out of the jar? You like the appearance of it coming out of the microwave?
Both.
Just to be clear.
Both.
Oh,
I like
really?
that. I actually find it to be a pleasing, creamy orange color that it might, in a different bottle, might be indicative of perchance like a spicy, smoky chipotle mayo or aioli, something I could find quite
Chipotle
pleasant.
is so much darker. I mean, I don't consider
In a
that
mayo.
like
In
funky.
a mayo.
Mayo.
Oh, Chipotle
The
mayo.
mayo. Which
That
is white,
consistency
for the
doesn't turn
record.
you off at all.
No, the consistency I thought very off-putting.
Okay.
I'm just saying from a color and appearance, so that you wouldn't immediately know the consistency from looking at it,
Fair enough.
which
Okay.
I didn't.
I mean,
Um,
this is a like almost like an underripe pumpkin. I mean, it is a pale orange.
It's
It is
pale.
I think that's
It's
really accurate.
It's a funky
Right.
color for a sauce. I don't think that is not a pleasing color.
You can't see like a spicy mayo or something like that being that color. A
I can-
siracha mayo or
I
a-
mean,
can
but
see
sriracha
it.
mayo just turns me off in general. I was like, why would
Okay.
why the fuck would I want that?
I like sriracha mayo. I think it's
in any case, so I'll get on my heat rating. Now, this is another thing where I really have to differ from you guys, and here's why. At one point when I was eating it, I don't remember I think it was when we were eating at the room temperature version, I got some stuck in the back of my throat or something, probably because it's gelatinous instead of being a liquid. I was coughing. It was like sticking in the back of my throat and burning a little bit. Now, general eating it, I would have to agree. I would say, to me, since I could detect that there was, in fact, some heat, I have to give it something. I can't give it a 0. And just because it kind of kicked me in the back of the throat there a little bit, I will say a 1. Officially, I'll say a 1.
Wow.
Now, as far as flavor overall, The thing I think is that this sauce mainly suffered from the gratuitous use of margarine, because I think if you could kind of cut through all that excessive butter and margarine flavor, the actual flavor of the sauce is not bad. Truly, if you had a concentrated version of that, it would be a solid wing sauce.
Has to be concentrated.
Concentrated
though.
version of what? Of like, just that little bit of spice, like
Yes.
concentrated?
If
like
you cut out all the butter and then maybe kick the rest of the sauce, the remainder of the sauce up like tenfold,
So yeah,
I think it'd be
you'd have
perfect.
8
So
tablespoons.
you have an entirely different sauce then.
that entire jar, if you cut out all the
Right.
calories, I think it would actually be a pretty tasty sauce.
You're talking about taking all the spice and flavor and literally condensing it down to a 10th or a 12th, as there's 12 servings
Yes.
per that jar.
Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to give it a high rating. I'm just saying that I'm not going to give it a 0 either, because I do think that whoever created the sauce, they knew something of what they were doing. They
Cash
just
grab.
went a little out of left field with it.
Cash grab. Even I will agree with that.
So I'm going to say, for flavor, served properly on wings, I am going to give this a 2. I truly think I'm extrapolating a little bit here because because again, like we said, I didn't have us try it in the correct format, but I think that if you tried it in the correct format, I could see this being a 2 on some wings.
Well, there's certainly a good reason why I haven't been to a Hooters in probably the better part of 14, 15 years.
Right.
Wow.
Every bit of it. And
And the rest of us have never been.
yeah.
Right.
And I you know,
And that's not just a geographical.
I think
We all get out. We all get places where
Right.
we could go to a Hooters. Let's be
I think it's a thing for generations past, though. Like I said, I truly think this is more of a boomer thing. I don't
Yeah.
think this is something that is made to appeal to millennials.
if the
Okay.
food was good, I think if the food was good, you have a really solid shot.
Yeah.
I mean, where would you rank
Better.
Crab Shack?
Joe's
Joe's
Shack?
Crab Shack.
Is that a scantily clad
No.
female?
No.
Yeah,
Type-
what's the comparison here? I'm missing
When
something.
you're saying it
What age group does that appeal
appeals
to?
to the boomer age group. It came out around the same time as Hooters. It got big and then it's died down since.
Okay.
Same way as Hooters. They've been closing stores left and right.
But Joe's
You know,
Crab
do you-
Shack, I think they're suffering. Again, I think they're suffering to more authentic seafood restaurants, but at least you can say the food was their primary focus there.
Never been to a Joe's Crab Shack.
I have. It's okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It doesn't stand out. For me personally, I'd rather go to a Red Lobster and get some of them biscuits. That's my shit. Speaking of margarine, that's my shit.
I'd rather just go to all-you-can-eat crab leg night.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of those cracking.
There used to be some good ones of those around at
There's-
some local
There's
restaurants.
still actually a really good one. It's down at Redfin Blues.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's banging. I love that.
What about Miller's Sea House?
Oh.
They don't have
What's the
another
story on
now.
that?
It's horrible.
Oh, great.
We'll have to make an expedition out there. Tori probably won't go. He probably won't go either. Although it is cheap, you gotta admit, it is
Oh,
hella
I'd
cheap.
come along.
There's no seafood involved. They don't have seafood involved.
Just
but-
take a $20 bill,
Oh, no.
throw it out the window, make yourself some ramen noodles,
We've mentioned
and you'll be
them.
better off.
We've mentioned
Oh,
them
great.
before on the podcast about their interesting combinations of wing flavors. One of their
Oh, we
one of their
did.
famous ones is peanut butter and jelly wings.
Oh, please save me.
So-
I mean, I come from a college town. I went up to Clarion, and we had this wonderful bar. It was called Toby Hill. They had some awesome wing flavors. I just loved that place. That compared to this Reese's peanut butter looking jar crap. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, it doesn't even hold a
the
candle.
color is it does look
looks
like it would be something Reese's.
Pieces.
Yeah.
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 Instead, it's Hooters feces.
Yeah, it's not good.
That was good.
Oh, it's
Okay.
good. It's good.
Oh, hey, I'm glad you guys waited for me. I went and got another beer. I almost feel as if the tongue coating I mentioned before. You almost need something with a little bit of octane, a little bit of ass behind
Yeah.
it to cut that.
Something with a little bit of like an astringent quality, like the alcohol. It'll kind of clean your mouth.
A little witch hazel.
Absolutely
Yeah.
agreed. I
feel-
have witch hazel upstairs.
Yeah.
I feel like this might have some sort of effect on your intestines too, like lube you up or something. I'm a little bit concerned about
Oh,
this
a little bit?
tomorrow. I've got some driving to do tomorrow, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Well, whatever you had in the last 12 hours is going to take the A train, my dude. That I can almost.
Shoot me right out.
Does anyone else watch The Boys? No, probably not.
I've heard so much about
I've
it.
heard you say before that you like to watch boys. Is that?
Nope, it's an Amazon Prime.
I thought you were just talking out your
Television
window.
show.
Oh, okay.
The Boys. One of the characters is A-Train.
Oh,
Just
boy.
Oh, and I meant to ask you, E, how was your 12th watching of Little Cuties on Netflix?
Oh, mama.
Oh,
Wow.
God almighty.
Oh.
Jesus, that's really messed up.
They got hot water over that, didn't
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
intentional. They're going
They
for
knew what
publicity.
they were
They know,
doing.
yeah, they know what
Yeah.
they're doing. That's all calculated, dude.
It's pushing that envelope.
I would say that this sauce was possibly the little cuties of the sauce.
That's the
world.
equivalent.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Equally distasteful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
equally as miserable as. Yeah,
My stomach feels a little
Yeah.
rumbly now too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
damn you to
A little
hell
bit.
type. Yeah.
Well-
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was a little concerned. I mean, I even have that in my note here.
Uh-huh.
It's concerning for health reasons that,
Yeah,
that I don't
Yeah.
particularly.
it's.
I've had a
unhealthy.
couple of bites and I think I'm okay.
Is this possibly our most caloric sauce we've had on the show so far?
That's heavy.
It has to be. It's
Gotta
all
be.
margarine.
It's got to be.
It has to be, truly. Okay, well, I mean, we've all made our thoughts on this perfectly clear.
Yeah.
I think it's time that we start wrapping things up. E, would you like to send us off with any closing thoughts?
If you're looking for a wing sauce, Hooters wing sauce is not it. It just isn't. And support your local wing shops, because right now everybody supporting local is important for the current conditions. And it's been really good to get together with you all and talk about this sauce, even though the sauce was such a letdown. I'm really, really glad we all got to spend our Friday evening together. TG, what's your thoughts?
Oh, well, thank you again. Yeah, it was a really great time. Thank you for having us, Colleen. Thank you for joining us this evening. It was very nice to have a guest. When we opened this jar the first time, I couldn't help but equate it to obviously, peanut butter, cake icing, these types of things. So I made the joke, obviously, it's spreadable. Shameless self-plug. Of course, I'm going to mention the joke that I made that I thought was a killer joke from before. So about being spreadable. So it's try not to spread yourself too thin is the loose connection I'm trying to make here. And I think it's important for everyone to take a step back and take some time for themselves, whatever that may be. Some meditation, maybe get a massage, maybe sit around, play some video games, pet your cat, watch a movie, do whatever you'd like. But certainly take some time for yourself because you are worth it. And thank you for listening as always.
That's great.
Miss Colleen, what would you like to share with us?
Well, I just wanted to say that I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I thought this was an absolute blast, minus the sauce quality. That was just terrible. But however, I did have, I did enjoy myself rating this with you guys and trying this with you guys, exploring new things, and also drinking the rum straight out of the bottle to cut the margarine out of my mouth. But other than that, this was great. Thank you so much for having me on tonight, guys.
Yeah, I wanted to say, thanks for coming out for us,
Yeah.
driving out here, being our very first guest, helping us celebrate episode 10 with what I was really hoping was going to be a real banger of a sauce for us. I thought I was really pulling out all the stops, something special,
Swing and a miss batter.
easy that we'd all really like, and man, did we sure fucking biff it.
Yeah, it was not a hoot.
So, hey, that was pretty good.
Well done.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it this week for us. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next week, hopefully with a sauce that's a little bit more edible.
Yeah. Uh-oh, that music can only mean one thing. Sadly, we're at the end of the show. We appreciate you listening. Why don't you send us an email on saucespoken@gmail.com. We would absolutely love to hear from you. If you're on Twitter, why don't you stop in and see us? We're at Sauce Spoken. That is at Sauce Spoken on Twitter. And finally, we like to take some goofy pictures. We throw them on Instagram. Hopefully you like them as much as we do. That is going to be Sauce Spoken Official on Instagram. And we really appreciate your time having us in your home today. Share us with your family and friends. Give us a review or a rating if that's possible for you to do. We really appreciate your time. This is Sauce Spoken. Thank you for listening.